Up. Hope you're having a great week so far. Talk some more liposuction today. Figure out how to get rid of that belly. Um, Many of you have been trying, I'm sure. See, a lot of people at these time of year, it's like you put on the weight in the winter, and winter ends, and you want to, you feel bad about it, and you want to get rid of it, and so that's why we have these New Year's resolutions. And you know damn well those New Year's resolutions, they never last because you set it. You set these like crazy ass goals, like I'm gonna go to the gym for 5 days a week for 3 hours, and I'm gonna starve myself. I'm not gonna eat anything. I'm gonna lose all this weight, and sure enough, you're not able to fulfill that. And when you fall off the bus and you stop going to the gym, one day, that one day becomes 2 days, and then 2 days becomes 3 days, becomes a week, and then you're right back, at Fridays with, getting drinks. So I know it's easy, and I say this because that's my story. That's that's what happened with me multiple times. But I can tell you that when you are able to find that discipline within you, it comes from your what's important to you. It comes from your why. So why do you want to be thinner? Why do you want to be healthier? Why do you want to look better? And you have to ask yourself these tough questions, because if you don't really know the answers to these, then when things get tough, because it's not easy, none of this stuff's easy. But so when things get tough, it's easy to quit. And that's what people do. And that's why, it's tough to have discipline. Even the best discipline ever, if you're getting tested all the time, it's going to be difficult to stay good. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. I feel like I have like Superman discipline, the ability to stick to my regimen, habits, and things of that nature. I feel like I'm able to do that. However, if my wife brings ice cream into the house, I'm gonna have some, and that's just the way it is, right? So what I ask is, just, don't bring that stuff around. Just don't bring it around. Don't buy it for the kids. Don't buy it for anybody. Don't buy on any of that dessert stuff, because I don't want to eat it, right? But I know that if it's there, I'm gonna eat it. So when we talk about self-discipline, it's you have to start preparing to have discipline. So how do you prepare to have discipline? So if you know that you want to start doing things, prepare to make the whole process easier for you. For example, if you want to start drinking more water, and that's a habit that you want to do, you're gonna go out and you're gonna buy yourself a big bottle, right? And always carry it with you. And maybe you want a smaller bottle. Maybe that works for you. I like to have a lot of water because I drink a lot, and if I'm out for hours, I want to make sure that I have something. So that this is what I chose. But I plan for it. And because I plan for it, I'm never without water, and I'm always hydrated. So it's just a simple habit, right? Another simple habit that I did is I don't want to get caught when I'm out. I don't want to get caught in a situation where I have to get fast food, or I have to get some type of food that I'm not going to really want to be eating, that I know it's not good for me. So I prepare. And it's not like I bring a sack lunch with me all the time, but what I do is I have bars or snacks. I like dried fruit. I like nuts. Something healthy that can just tide me over and just get me by for whatever the case. I have a couple bars in there where I can go past a meal or two, because I have enough snacks in there, and that's just preparation. So what did that do? It saved me from having to make that poor choice, because it's so easy to make those poor choices. I'm telling you, this stuff is not that difficult. It's not that hard. But the problem is that it's so easy to not do these things, is not do the simple disciplines. Stacy says, change is possible. Absolutely. All right, we got to see if we got some questions here on Instagram. Yes, I am ready. I need a mommy makeover and augmentation breast lift. I want to schedule for January. So, Angela, you sound like you're looking for like a tummy tuck mommy makeover, breast augmentation with a lift, and that whole package thing. And that's not something that we do here. What we would offer is we do everything that you see here is no big cuts or anything. There's no big scars. It's all liposuction. Um, we've been able to get these amazing results, and without doing the bigger cutting type procedures. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's what we have. And the alternative to the implants, what we do is we use fat transfer. So we will inject fat into the layer, which works as a filler and fills up. And it's a more natural enhancement. The difference is not not gonna have these like little perfect nuggets like what the implants make. These these little balls. Because they stick in a sac in there, and your breast is going to take form of whatever that sac is. And it's good in some situations, bad in some situations. So you got to make your choices. But here we do liposuction. That's our deal. Let's see. Jeanette Diaz says, "Do you take Care Credit?" Care Credit specifically, we don't take. However, there is another finance company that we deal with. Care Credit's evil. They're evil. I know it's accepted everywhere, but it's because they got crazy ass fees. They back end you. Okay, what's the average cost for Lipo 360 plus BBL? There's no average really, because our patients are so variable. We got larger patients, smaller patients. If you're one of our larger volume patients, we may not be able to do the 360 in one procedure, which means it's going to be more expensive, obviously. But there's obviously a lot more to do. So without seeing pictures of you, I can't tell you what we need to do for you. But on the if you're at the smaller end, like I don't know, 130 pounds, you don't have a whole lot of fat, it might be cheaper. And when I say cheaper for a BBL, you're talking somewhere in the range of the low end, 8 or 9 grand. Higher end, obviously, it just depends on the amount of liposuction that you're going to be doing. Okay. Stacy says watermelon is really good if you're trying to change your eating habits. That's kind of interesting. I haven't heard that. I'm guessing watermelon kind of plays the part of it gives you the chewing texture, but there's not really much substance to it. It's primarily water. It's probably low in sugar, hopefully. Maybe helps with appetite suppressant. Interesting. Okay, let's see what we got. Question here on YouTube. I've been watching your videos and I really appreciate your content. I'm struggling to remove a huge chunk of my belly fat. Any thoughts on watching minors while they leave school? What?
I think she wants you to babysit for her.
That was weird. That took a weird twist. Like, any chance in watching minors? My immediate thought was like, that's kind of creepy. Any thoughts on getting, I guess, childcare for your minors? That's not my specialty, but we, as in my family, I have kids too, so we have babysitters that we pay. We have a couple lined up. My wife does always, just in case if we wanted to go out for whatever. So that could be an option, but I'm sure there's apps for this nowadays. So that was funny. I don't know. Maybe I'm like laughing and joking, but maybe I just totally misunderstood the question. Okay, punk ass. Okay, feeling you for years. I finally said, fuck it. It's time to get my body. That's awesome. Punk ass was at 909. She says she's been following me for years. And finally said, F it, and took the money out of my savings and scheduled for next month. That's super exciting. See, this is the cool thing that you guys don't even realize, is that right now, like right at this moment, when you're at the start of your journey, you have the opportunity to literally write the book of your success story. You get to, choose the things that you're going to do and create the story. So when I was heavier, I decided that I wanted to be one of these success stories. All these, these people, losing weight, getting in shape, and as we get older, being the best shape of your life. Like, that's like, I wanted to be that kind of person. So So I pushed myself. And when you have something that you want to achieve, you have to start doing the things. But there's other people around us that are here and they've had the same stories. So you don't have to necessarily recreate the wheel here, but look at their story and start doing those type of things. Maybe you need to change your diet. Maybe you need to change your activity level. Maybe you need to work out more. Maybe you need to, get new friends because all your friends are like foodies, and every time you're around them, they make you eat this lots of food, which is keeping you fat. Maybe you need to change the family members that you're spending time with. It's the same reason. These are the little things, but everybody's story is a little bit different. And the cool thing is after you write your story, is literally you live right through it. You can plan these things ahead of time if you're smart. But in most cases, it's plow forward, hit the wall, figure out a solution, and get over the wall, and then go on to the next challenge. And it's one challenge after another. But what I found, which I was kind of happy of, is when I look back on my past, the things that I did, I create this story in my mind like I'm a superhero, that I came from this fat dude that lost I lost 40 pounds and got in shape, the best shape of my life. I was working out. I ran a marathon. I ran Spartan races, Tough Mudders. I did all kinds, I threw all that stuff into my story, because now when I look back, I can tell my story of what I did and how I achieved, and my struggles and how I got through my struggles. And you're right at the same point where you're able to push through some of your struggles. And as you push beyond what the other people are doing, you're all of a sudden going to be an influencer. Now the people are going to look to you and be like, hey, I know she's pushing hard. I know she's working out. I know she's eating right. She's inspiring me to do the same thing. And that's where you start influencing the people around you. And it's the same thing that works on you. You're going to get influenced by the people around you. So surround yourself by people that are lifting you up, that are better than you. That, let's say if you want to eat a certain diet, so spend more time around that person or people like them that eat that specific diet, and see what they do. Because I promise you, what happens is they've made their own mistakes and they've learned from them. And if you could learn from their mistakes, you get to your goal 10 times faster. Okay, Brandtastic. So I know there's a procedure that separates the C-section scar from the tissue that causes the Grand Canyon. Let's see, LOL. Do you do that procedure as well, or strictly lipo related? So I'm not doing any scar revision stuff, if that's what you're asking for. I'm not cutting any of the scars out. However, I do have techniques so what happens typically with the scars, and by the way, I've done thousands of these with the scars and all kinds of crazy scars. So it's stuff doesn't really scare me. And I've dealt with a lot of issues, and I have special tools that I utilize to break up the scar tissue appropriately. So what happens is the scar tissue tends to pucker up. And so typically when you have your C-section scar, the belly will fold over right at the C-section scar. It's a weakening of the tissue, so it's a natural fold for the belly. It happens almost every time. Some people are lucky or unlucky. I don't know what the answer is, but some people it doesn't fold in that spot. But if you have a C-section, it's typically going to fold there. So what I do, in either case, whether you have the scar there or not, when I do liposuction, particularly to get that fold to go away at the belly, I have to do liposuction on each side of the fold. So you have to disrupt the fold. The fold is caused and your body is kept in that position consistently, to where if you don't break it up, it's kind of like you have to erase the memory of the body. So you break up enough of that tissue underneath there, and the body can't remember that it has to go back to that fold. That's the idea. That's what we want to do. Then when you heal, you pull everything up and make it tight. And then when the body forms scar tissue, the scar tissue adheres and everything looks nice and flat afterwards. So the scar doesn't get removed. However, the puckering portion, it gets smooth. And when it gets smooth, it looks more natural and it looks better. But you'll still have the scar. Even if they do a scar revision, it's not making a scar disappear. And you should understand that. It's not making a scar disappear. With a scar revision, you will always have another scar. Once the cut's been made, you have to have a scar there. The question is how good is that scar? Now, some of these guys, when they do their scars, it's like an afterthought when they sew you up and they don't really take care of the skin and they do a bad job and the scars are really bad. That happens a lot, especially if it's an emergency type situation, which I don't think is an excuse, but that's what the situation is. But there's other situations where the scar is perfect. There's a tiny little incision there and it looks amazing. Those doctors, I praise them. They do fantastic work. But sorry, no scar revisions in this place. Oh yeah, that's exactly what you wanted. Cool. Yeah, the C-section scars are easy. Some of these issues that you may have, it's it may have been bothering you your whole life. That's why liposuction is like, it's so cool. What I'm able to do is I'm able to solve some of these problems that people have had for years, and they felt as if there was no solution. Like they just had to live with this and be unhappy with themselves, be unhappy with their situation. And what we're able to do with just liposuction, it's unbelievable. So just take a look at the pictures, talk to the previous patients. They are there to help guide you through this process and help you figure out what's the right answer for you, because most of these problems that you may be experiencing, other people have experienced the same type of problems. So it behooves you to connect with people that are similar to you and try and figure out what they did in order to solve their problem. And you got to realize, in this world, there's multiple ways to skin a cat, as the saying goes. There's many different ways to accomplish the same results. I won't say exactly the same results, but the same type of results. For example, losing weight and liposuction, totally different results. Totally different results. Difference, right? Here's the difference. When you lose weight, it's almost like you just become a smaller version of whatever you were. So if you have this belly hanging over, you're just going to shrink up and become a smaller version of the belly hanging over. If you were square shaped when you were bigger, you're just going to become a smaller square when you lose weight. The difference between the liposuction is I'm able to carve out, so take away the fat in specific areas, which causes the shape and the curvature of the body. I can cause the shape. So where you lack shape, where you feel like you don't have shape, we can cause the shape by the actions that we take. So that's the cool thing with the liposuction. With just weight loss, what I've found is that people tend to have looser hanging skin after just the weight loss. Not everybody, but particularly the ones that lose significant amounts, like with weight loss surgery, like 100 pounds plus. The skin is very saggy and loose. And the difference between liposuction and that, liposuction, even on these larger individuals, we're able to get a tremendous amount of fat out. We get these big dramatic changes. And when you do the liposuction, it stimulates the body's natural healing response. So your body's going to form scar tissue. And if you can imagine, we take out all the fat and there's a gap created now where between the skin and the muscle. And so now after the procedure, that gap doesn't remain there. What happens is we put compression garments and we compress everything down. When we compress it down, now it's in the position. When it's in position, the body is going to form scar tissue in whatever position you have it in. So let's say, for example, you have a folding belly now. We take all the fat out, right? And now when we take the fat out, you leave it hanging and folding. You pull it down and you fold, and then you put your compression garment on. Or you allow it to fold down. If you allow it to be in that position, the body will form scar tissue in that position. This is the way scar tissue works. It'll form in that position. So if you keep it there long enough, it'll form with a fold and it'll stay that way. In contrast, if you pull the skin back and you retract back and so there is no fold, the body will heal in that same position as well. And when it does that, the fold disappears. And so what our job is to get as much fat out of there as it can. We disrupt the fold at the bottom there and give you the best chance for that fold to go away. And in most cases, it's going away. And I'm talking even very large individuals, it's going away. It's incredible. I mean, you would see them and it blows you away. I mean, you see some of these pictures with these large people where their belly's hanging down and covers their underwear, and then afterwards, it's gone. And people that have had problems for decades, with their weight, their, whatever they're doing, these yo-yo diets, going up and down, up and down. Every month they switch and change. They go to the gym, they don't go to the gym. Everything keeps changing. With liposuction, we can physically remove all that fat. Now, it gets you quick results, relatively. There's a recovery, obviously, so it does take time, but the fat's gone, immediately. Now, it's still important that you continue with diet and exercise. That's always a baseline. You have to have a good foundation, and if you don't have a good foundation, you have poor eating habits, then that's setting you up for failure. So if you're planning to succeed, then you have to make the proper plans beforehand. So if you're not eating the right foods, you got to start fixing these things, whatever your issues are. And everybody has their own little things, right? It's not a big deal, but hey, like I like to eat a Snickers bar every day after lunch. Well, maybe you can change that habit, right? I like to go to Fridays for drinks every Friday after work. That's cool. That's good for some people, but if you're trying to lose weight, that doesn't make sense. So let's cut those things out, right? If you go to eat out a lot, when you eat out, you don't really control what you're getting. You have to order whatever's on the menu, and you don't know what they're putting in it. I mean, it might taste good and everything, but usually when they taste good, they're putting a bunch of garbage in there that's making it taste good. Like, you probably don't realize that they use bacon grease on your steak, or or they put like a whole thing of butter and let it soak in, so it's like mouth. They're like, oh my god, it's mouth water, and yeah, it's because they put a huge stick of butter on there, which is cool in some situations, but not if you're losing weight, right? So you need to start acting as if you're trying to do and live this healthy lifestyle. And it's just about being. You just have to be healthy. So, which means make these little decisions, whether it means to get up and go for a walk every morning or every afternoon, or it means that you need to start drinking more water, or it means that you need to change your dietary habits or the food that you're eating. Maybe you're eating food that's not good for you. What if you're eating processed food, or you're eating a lot of sugary food? You just have to solve whatever your problem is. Hope you guys are excited for the holiday. It's been cold around here in Vegas, and I know that the weather's been weird other places in the country, but hopefully we all have a nice holidays, safe holidays. I like snow, but I certainly don't want it here in Vegas. But it's nice. I know having a white Christmas, and but when you get stuck inside indoors, that's when a lot of these problems will persist as well, which makes the holidays harder, because we're coming home to see family, and these time of years it's usually like it surrounds around food. So there's, if you have big groups of people, there's like always food out so you can eat, which makes it really hard if your discipline's not tight. And even if it's tight, like I said, I mean, I feel like I have a super strong discipline. However, when I go to these different events and things like that, I struggle too. And like, I'm gonna have a piece of pumpkin pie, I'm gonna have a piece of cheesecake, I'm gonna have some extra stuffing, or whatever it is, right? I'm gonna have whatever it is, because it's the experience. And I'm not saying don't have your experience, but you have to start thinking about, like, imagine as if every single decision that you make, there's a plus or there's a minus, right? And every time that plus, it goes into a little jar. And if you were able to keep track of these things, you just need to be a much more positive than negative, right? And again, I'm trying to like simplify this, because I don't like complex things. I like super simple, easy things, because when you're looking to make a decision, if it's super complex and you're like, oh, but this is this many calories, and you're looking at that kind of stuff, to me, that's the reason why I quit doing that stuff. Is because I don't want complex. I want simple. I want something that works for me. So I found food that is healthy for me and that I liked, and then I eat a lot of that. And it's that simple. It's a lot of repetitive stuff, and that's just what I like to do. But you don't have to. You can find a wider variety and mix it up more. I like, I personally utilize, they have food services, like food prep services, so you can, I purchase my meals once a week, and it comes every Friday, and they come in, packaged with ice and everything like that, and take it and put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator, whatever, depending on when you're going to use it, and you heat it up before you eat it, and it's already prepared for you, and it's healthy food. So I do one of those a day, and then the other, and basically I do intermittent fasting. So I stop eating at about 9 o'clock at night, and I don't eat until about. I'm honestly, I mean, especially when I do these lives, I don't eat till afterwards. So it'll be like 5, 6 o'clock when I actually eat, and I'll eat for until 9 o'clock, and then that's it. And I'm good with that. I'm cool with that. And I feel like I don't feel like I'm hungry because I've been doing this for a while that way. And so I just created a habit. I drink a lot of water, and I believe that the water itself dampens my appetite. Blanquita says, if I'm going to eat something bad, I have it early because then I have all day to work it off. That's a cool, it's kind of like it's whatever your philosophy, right? And if that philosophy works for you, then that's awesome, And everybody has their different philosophy. I'm trying to do the intermittent fasting, so I don't eat earlier in the day, and I'm just not hungry, and it's worked for me, and I don't need snacks. And the weird thing is when you don't eat for a period of time, I don't have that appetite anymore. My stomach is shrunken down, and I don't feel hungry. And the weird thing is, this is what blows me away, is when I actually do eat something in the morning, I actually feel much hungrier within a few hours. So it was like you get something in your belly and it starts the digestive juices, and then your belly's like, okay, I'm empty, I want more. And that's, I think, what most people end up getting caught in, and because you start right when you get up in the morning, you fill your belly up, and your belly's like, okay, now it's gone, I need more. And that's around like 11 or 12. Then you eat lunch, a big lunch, and you're full up, and then when it's out of your belly by dinner time, 6, 7, whatever the case, it's you're craving more food. So what I found is when I didn't eat in the morning, I don't have, you have to get over those cravings. I've been doing this for a long time, for a year or so. So I don't have those type of cravings anymore. And I honestly, I don't remember them ever being that bad. However, it's a habit, it's a discipline. And if you can withstand the first couple weeks, after that it gets a lot easier. Blanquita, she says fasting is amazing, and her deal is she doesn't have dinner past 5:30 or 6 and stop eating everything by 7. Yeah, and ultimately it's whatever works for you, because I have people that tell me like, well, I'm doing this, and I'm not, it's not really working. I'm like, cool, change it. It's that easy. Just change, like totally change. In fact, if you do the exact opposite, in many cases you're going to get better results. So think about this: if you're doing this breakfast, lunch, and dinner thing, do the exact opposite. In trying the intermittent fasting, it's the complete opposite. You're giving your body more rest time. You're consuming fewer calories. As I said in the last live, is that the number one thing for anti-aging or longevity, be able to live longer, the number one thing, and they said it can extend your life by up to 20%, is decreased calories. So calorie restriction. And so what that means is eating about, and they actually suggested eating about a third of what our normal diet is. That's what they had, and they tested this through it was through mice. And so there was consistently that showed that what they had I think it was about a third of what they normally ate. They restricted that over a period of time, and they showed that they lived 20% longer. So what does that mean to you? What is 20% longer in your life? Well, let's say that you're going to live to be 80, right? If you were normally die doing your normal stuff, if you were going to live to be 80, then 20% more is another like 15, 16 years. So now you're talking 96. So to do these small disciplines now could help you live, an extra 15, 16 years later. This is a no-brainer if you think about this stuff. It's a no-brainer. And I'll tell you what, right now technology is improving so rapidly that if you just hold off, if you can stay alive, 20 years, 30 years, they're going to have new technologies that are going to allow us to rehabilitate our organs and essentially turn back the clock on our bodies. The technology is already coming. This stuff's happening. All you have to do is get healthy now and be one of those people that survives. There's biohacking that can help optimize your body. This stuff is already happening. You can do it too. It's not a secret. It's just that it's not mainstream. There's ways to enhance the body naturally and to improve the health so we live longer. All right, a couple questions here on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, cold in Michigan, huh? My sister's out in Montana right now. Okay, I have back rolls and a tummy. Should I get a BBL and full back done, or should I get a full abdomen and flanks to remove the rolls? Well, it depends. If you're 300 pounds, the answer is going to be different than someone that's smaller. So I don't know exactly what this looks like. This is something we need to do a consultation. And on Instagram here we have a link up in the profile. You get a consultation. We talk about it and give you an option. But I'll tell you what, if you want a BBL, you should be treating the areas surrounding the butt, which is the waistline. So to get the best results with the BBL, it's part liposuction, where we're carving out the shapes, and part addition of volume, so fat transfer. So with the butt, we have to create that hourglass figure. We have to create that arch to the lower back. So you see in this before picture how she's kind of like a square block, and she's filled in the lower back, which makes her butt look flat. So when we so if you can imagine, the back normally has this arch to it, but if the body fills in with fat, it creates it more, so it's more straight up instead of having an arch. So when we take that gap of fat, like say it's about 2 or 3 inches there, when we take that out, we can create that arch. But then when it goes in, the butt appears to be popping out, even though it's not really, it's an illusion, right? It appears to be popping out just because we make the lower back smaller. So we create that arch, we create the shape to the butt, and then we add a little additional volume, and you got that big pop, big change, big difference. And that's how we create these awesome shapes with the butt. And this is like a new lease on life, really. To change from being this like SpongeBob SquarePants, where nothing fits you right, you're embarrassed all the time, you feel like you have no butt. Nothing solves that problem better than doing one of these BBLs with the 360 lipo. It's incredible. Okay, Isabel says, I gained so much weight with medications from a health condition. I can't lose it. I eat very healthy, but nothing works. So whenever something didn't work for me, you change drastically. You got to change dramatically. You got to shift to where your body, sometimes whatever you're doing, your body gets used to, and it starts to accommodate, and it'll start to create different mental pathways and physical things that you're doing that just keep you stuck in this one spot. So when you got to kind of break loose and do something different. Maybe that's I'm a much more aggressive approach to a lot of things. So I know that doesn't work for everybody. So you have to figure out what works for you. But when you have dietary issues, there's so many different theories and philosophies on what's right to eat. I don't think there's any right answer, but there's definitely a lot of wrong things to do. And so you got to make sure that you're not doing the wrong things. Like you're not eating processed sugar. You're not, eating tons of carbs. You have to make sure that for your body, you're not doing the wrong things. Another thing, when you're trying to lose weight, you can't drink alcohol. You can't drink it. It's just if you're trying to lose weight, don't drink alcohol. The reason is alcohol is almost pure sugar in that the alcohol gets converted into sugar in your body. So the body will consume the sugar first, and after it's consumed the sugar, then it starts to to use the fat. So that's why some of these philosophies on eating, they do a low sugar to where you want to get your body into the ketosis where you're starting to burn fat cells. Lots of different ways to do it, but if one doesn't work, you got to switch and switch big, make a big dramatic change. Don't try to don't try to do the same things and get different results. That's the definition of insanity. Okay. Someone said, is it PCOS? I don't know if she was talking to a previous person. PCOS is something that you can still do liposuction with that. Potentially any medical condition you can do liposuction with. It just, we got to make sure you're cleared medically. So that means that things need to be controlled. So like if you're diabetic or high blood pressure, high cholesterol, any of the elevated issues, or you have PCOS or fibromyalgia, any of these things are just issues where if it's controlled, it's not an issue. If it's not controlled, it's an issue. So just get yourself healthy. That's the ideal thing. First, you got to be healthy, then we can do the procedure. You do a lot of thigh lifts. I don't do any thigh lifts. We don't do any cutting of the skin. All of the results that we've gotten are with strictly liposuction, and that's you may believe that thigh lifts are necessary, but they're just I don't know. I guess every situation is different, so I don't want to say what's right or wrong for you. However, who you get your opinion from is going to be different. Since I don't do thigh lifts, I'm obviously not going to recommend a thigh lift. We do liposuction, and this is where we do full thigh liposuction. And you can see this is immediately in the middle of the procedure, how dramatic of a change that's possible. So, if you choose to do a thigh lift, you end up with a big scar. I've never seen those go well. Thigh lifts and arm lifts are horrendous procedures. I would never recommend that on any of my family members. But that's my opinion. And your situation is your situation, and everybody's journey is a little bit different. So a lot of people end up going and getting these thigh lifts. They're unhappy because they didn't get enough fat out, or it wasn't even or smooth, or whatever the case. They didn't do good liposuction, and they come to me to fix it. I've done a lot of those, and those scars are nasty on the thigh lifts. Nasty. Do your research. Yeah, so this is shortly after her procedure, so she's in her compression garments. But we do a lot, we do a lot of thighs, but it's just, the abdomen is more popular. That's what people want to see. That's what they want to talk about. So we definitely do thighs. We do arms. I love doing the chin. Okay. I'm mode. Okay. Would love to chat with you about Morpheus 8 body and our body light platform. That sounds like a sales pitch. Okay, thank you for the advice. No problem. So Laquita's talking over here. See, if you keep yourself busy and really don't think about food, remember, break your fast with healthy food and drink more water is a big key. Yeah, water is like the number one thing. And when you realize that our body is, like, I don't know, what is it, like 80 something percent water. We're mostly water. That's what we are. We are water. So if you're not drinking enough water, you're not sustaining yourself. 80% or 85, whatever it is, percent of our body is made out of water. So that's why it's so important. If you're not drinking enough water, nothing works. Your kidneys don't work, your liver doesn't work, your bowels don't work, nothing works. And then what happens when nothing works? You start gaining weight because your body's not able to process the food. So you eat this food. So let's say, I've heard this before when people say, oh, but I eat healthy and I'm not able to lose weight at all, and they're stuck at like 250, right? and they're like, I'm eating right, or I barely eat at all. So why does that kind of things happen? Why does that happen? My theory behind that is that if you clog yourself up with toxins, your organs don't function properly. So your kidneys, if they're not filtrating properly, and I use this analogy. Imagine it's like a mesh, and you had sludge, and you're pouring sludge into this mesh, and it's filtering out, and on the out it filters out the junk, and on the outside comes the cleaner water, right? So if you have sludge, eventually this filter or mesh or whatever gets clogged up, and so you might pour more water in there, but it still runs real slow because it's clogged up. So in order to fix that problem, you have to detoxify, they call it, or cleanse. And so you cleanse your organs going through these different processes. There's like a juice cleanse, and there's various different products that are offered out there to help your body through the process of cleansing and detoxifying. But my belief is that because because you ate a certain whatever diet, we'll just say, your body has accumulated these toxins and held onto them to the point where your organs aren't working or aren't functioning at their highest capacity. If they're not functioning at their highest capacity, then it doesn't matter what you eat. It doesn't matter what you eat because your body's not functioning at its maximal capacity. So if you can't process the food, then it ends up turning into fat, and it doesn't matter how much you eat. So shift your focus. Instead of thinking about calories, thinking about how do you cleanse your body out? How do you get all this garbage that you've accumulated out of your system? You have to start realizing that our bodies it's really just an accumulation over the decades. Whatever we eat, our body takes that nutrients, we break it down, and then it turns into us. Now, if you're eating bananas and apples, you're going to turn into the body of a person who eats bananas and apples. If you're eating steaks and potatoes every night, you're going to turn into the type of person that eats steak and potatoes every night. And I promise you, you know what that looks like. You know it because you probably have done it yourself. I know there's been phases of my life when I went through eating various, foods, and I was my body becomes that, and it's like you don't think about it that way. We don't think about that the food that we consume becomes us, but that's exactly what happens. And when you start realizing that, you'll start to protect yourself more. So instead of putting garbage down your mouth, it's like, why would you pour Drano, down your mouth? Then you know it's going to cause problems. And you're like, well, but it tastes so sweet, right? But it's going to kill you. And when in fact, the things that we do on a daily basis, the food that we eat, it's doing the same thing. We don't see the change immediately. So because we don't see the change immediately, it doesn't hit us like, this is really bad for me. The smoking's going to kill me. Well, it didn't kill me today, so I'm going to have a couple more tomorrow because I like the way it feels. That's what people think. The ice cream didn't kill me today, and it tastes really good, so I think I want to have more. That's the way you think. You got to change the way that you think. Right? If you change the way that you think, you're saying the ice cream's really good, but I know it's not good for me. Ice cream's really good, but I know it's not good for me. It's easier to make a decision at that point because you made a decision that you want to live a healthy lifestyle. Is that the healthy lifestyle? Is that eating that ice cream? The answer is probably no. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to be 100% all the time. It's just making, like, if you can make 80% of the time, make good decisions. 90% of the time, make good decisions. You want to be hardcore, make them, you choose. It's your life. You get to choose whatever you want. And I'll tell you what, you can do this really fast. You can hit your goals and, lose weight, get in shape. It can happen extremely fast. But in order for that to happen, you have to take extreme measures. So that means like your diets have to change extremely. Your workout has to change extremely. You have to take drastic measures like getting liposuction. That's extreme. And if you go to these measures, you can get what you want like so quick. Not in a snap, obviously, but it can be very quick. I'm so happy, Blanquita, that you have had your experience and come this way. I know this has been a while for you, and you know it's cool to look back. I'm sure for you as well, to see where you came from, and just realize and you know I'm like you. When you see how far you've come, it's that is the motivation to not go back. You know, when you see some of these old pictures, this is Blanquita here, when you see some of these old pictures and you remember how you felt back then and you vow to never go back, and that's when the power starts kicking in. And the new normal is the skinny one. That's me. And when you start believing that, it gets so easy. It just happens for you. But you got to believe it. And the only way to believe it is for you to earn it. And the only way to earn it is to work hard for it. So the challenge is there for you to overcome. And once you overcome it, you earn it. And when you earn it, you feel good about it. And when you feel good about it, your whole life changes. Is there a BMI limit for 360 lipo? We don't use the BMI as any limitation. In fact, I don't have a specific weight that I break things up. But when people get larger, we can't do everything we can't do a full 360 in one procedure. So like an individual like this was just the front of the abdomen. She hasn't done her second procedure yet, but the second procedure would be the waist and the back. So this part you can't see at this point. But she took care of the front of her abdomen. So larger individuals, we have to break it up into multiple procedures. It's not based off of BMI. I don't know. Maybe it would be, but I just don't use the term. So it's based more on the distribution of your fat. So I've had people that are lighter, that they have an abundance of fat in their abdomen area, which precludes us from doing lipo 360. Just we have limitations, so we try to restrict it to keep everything safe for the patients. How bad is it to drink always water with ice and everything with lots of ice? That's an interesting question. The truth is, I don't know. But I have heard some things which have led me to make adjustments in my life. So, and this kind of made sense to me. If you have butter melts at around room temperature, right? And so within, if you put butter in your hand, the butter would melt and go through your hand, but just because of the warmth of your hand. So when it goes into your stomach, right, it's melting and it's dissolving and your body absorbs it. Now, what happens if you put butter on ice? So, or you pour butter on top of ice. Let's do that. So when you pour butter on ice, it gets hard, right? And so if you're drinking water, cold water, any fat particles that you have in your stomach will consolidate and get hard, which then makes it more difficult for it to absorb. And if I guess theoretically maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But the Chinese, Eastern philosophy, they drink hot tea in the beginning of a meal, and it's meant to warm up the stomach, so then when you eat, you have something warm in there, and that is I think it's tradition for them, but it's secondarily what it's done is that with the heat helps to warm up the nutrients in their stomach and allow for better absorption. So I was a huge fan. I grew up. I loved ice. And loved ice water, and I used to slam ice water, and drink it a lot. However, I've heard some things that were counter to that, to doing that. So I changed. And at this point, I don't really care for ice. I just changed my habit. It's not that big of a deal. After time, you just if you love ice now, it's obviously going to be something that takes you a little bit of time to get over. But if it's important to you, if it makes sense to you what I just said, then maybe you'll change. And what I've always done is I just try these things, and then some of the stuff sticks, some of it falls by the wayside because it doesn't make sense to me. So I'll try various habits. Now, when you start a new habit, you have to stick with that habit for at least 60 to 90 days is my rule. Some people will say 30 days, but you got to really be focused for 60 days is usually what I would suggest, what I do personally. And when you stick to these habits and you commit to them for the 60 days, After the 60 days, you'll have a better understanding of is it working, is it helping. If it's not working or it's not helping, then it's not for you. The things that will stick they'll stick because you're like, this is effing awesome. Like, I feel fantastic and I love it, so I want to do it more, right? Then you'll get the positive reinforcement. And sometimes you don't get that positive reinforcement until like later in the game. So it's if you're only going to do something for like 30 days, you may not really get that positive reinforcement by the change and improvement in your body until closer to the 60 days. So that's why I always say, push it to 60 days. Awesome results. Okay, makes sense. I drink everything with ice. Probably could be my problem. Yeah, it might be. I mean, like I said, now that you've heard this, maybe it is a problem. I don't know. Maybe it's not a problem, but maybe it is. And that's one more thing that you could change and try. And again, try it for an extended period of time and see if it works for you. And you might be surprised that you get improvements in things that you weren't anticipating. And to me, that's like the treasures, right? We find these treasures, and I totally wasn't expecting the improvement in this way, but it's helped, right? So one little thing that I noticed, I've been taking collagen supplementation, and collagen it's like powder, and I put it in my what do they call my shakes. So I'll have a protein shake and I'll put a little collagen powder in there. You can also put collagen in coffee. It doesn't have a flavor to it, and it kind of gives it a creamy taste. But collagen, I've been taking it, and I was thinking it was for like skin, but it ends up my nails are like, man, they grow better than ever. I always remembered my nails weren't hard and I couldn't grow them out longer. And every time I grew them out a certain length, they always broke. My hair, you can see my hair is growing better. And not that I ever had a lack of hair, but I was starting to get a lot of grays, which I still have a few in here, but it almost seems like they're receding and it's getting less gray. And honestly, I don't know what does that, so I don't have any recommendations for it, but whatever I'm doing is working. And I do a lot of different things, and I have a lot of different disciplines and habits that I have followed and been very very adamant about doing my disciplines no matter what, no matter whether I'm traveling or I'm at home. I'm sticking to my disciplines. So it's not easy, right? But there's my goal, right, is to live an extra 30-40%, right? So I don't know whether this is an extra 30 or 40 years. That would be awesome, right? I don't know, maybe it won't be awesome, but if I live that long, I want to be functional. So it would suck to not take care of yourself, right, in your youth, and then you get to the point where you're like 60 years old, where now you can't really do anything because you're overweight and you've got bad knees and you need a knee replacement. Then you have high blood pressure, so you have to start changing your diet. As you get older, now you're forced to change. You don't really want to change, but you're forced to change it. And then in many cases they don't change, so the problems still compile, and then you start degenerating. Right? And this is what we were told. We were told that when you get old, you just slowly degenerate and die. That's the bullshit that we were told. See, I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that we just get old and deteriorate and die. I don't think it has to be that way. What I believe is that our body, if you think of it like a utility, like a car, for example, it's a vehicle that gets us from one place to another, right? And it allows us to do fun things like climb mountains and rock climb and swing from rope, whatever you want to do, right? It allows us to do these cool things. However, if we don't take care of our body, your body gains weight, the muscles deteriorate, your brain will deteriorate, your eyes will deteriorate, your skin will deteriorate. If you don't take care of the body, it deteriorates. So if you take care of it just like it's your car, you could like they showed in Cuba, they can have cars from like the 50s that they still use because they just keep maintaining and taking care of it. It's not easy, but you can do it. So if you change your mindset and start realizing, like, you don't have to get old and decrepit. You don't have to. You're choosing to. It's a choice. And then once the bells start going off in your head, you're like, holy shit, I've been choosing to get old. Because you thought, oh, when I get to a certain age, I retire. And what does retirement mean? You know, you may have thought, well, retirement means I don't have to work anymore, but since I'm going to have less income, but I'll get to, like, relax around the house and read and, do nothing. And, that's how people die. When you start deteriorating and slowing down, that's when you die. So keep accelerating and improving and getting better, and your life will change. So maybe what you're doing now, the type of work you're doing now, is not what you want to continue doing later. Get new skills, educate yourself, go read books, learn new things, learn a new trade. The world's changing right now. It's changing dramatically. So if you're not aggressive and you're moving forward, you're going to get left in the past. If you're not changing and getting better, you're going to get left in the past. This is an opportunity for you to kickstart your life. Now, I talk about this stuff, and clearly this doesn't have to do with liposuction. None of this stuff does. But it does all at once, right? So these things that you're changing with your body, if you don't change your mindset and the mentality, then none of the stuff works in the long run. And when you change the mentality, it changes every other aspect of your body, every aspect of your mind. These different philosophies that you can adopt, they're yours to use. It's a different philosophy. It's just a different philosophy. And if you choose to use these philosophies, then you can make different decisions based on those philosophies. So, the philosophy of intermittent fasting, if that's your choice. Right? There's different habits that you can implement in your life, which sets it on autopilot, so where your life just gets better. As long as you do these simple, basic habits, disciplines, your life is going to continue to improve and get better in every aspect where you implement these different disciplines. So whether that's a discipline or a habit of, like, let's say just reading for 15, 20 minutes every day. Let's say you commit to reading for 20 minutes every day before you go to bed. Not that difficult, right? What happens if you then commit to reading an extra 20 minutes in the morning? So now you're reading about 40 minutes a day, which you read 40 minutes a day every single day for a year. You're all of a sudden you're reading 20, 25 books. Imagine the intellect that you would improve on, the habits, or the new skills that you can learn by reading books in your industry, or you're learning how to I don't know, do whatever. You can learn how to do anything. Change, you can learn how to read faster, right? You can learn how to improve your memory. Learn how to improve your body. There's all these biohacking things. There's lots of books on it. Learn how to extend your life. Learn how to be happy. Learn how to be calm all the time, and not be so drama driven and, the scarcity mindset, fear. You gotta get that stuff out of your life. Okay, Kaya, what is the price and how many days would I have to be in Nevada? Okay, so the Kaya, or is it Kyra? Kyra. So I can't tell you specific prices because I don't know what you look like. We have our generic pricing it's $12.99 per area of liposuction. The area is about the size of your hand. So you're a smaller person like me, the abdomen is upper and lower abdomen. Larger individuals, if we have to go wider, or we have to go longer, or they're significantly deeper, meaning we have to go more on the sides here. Those are different areas, and it's all meant to be fair, because if larger individuals are getting a tremendous amount of fat, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more physical work. It's labor intensive. It's hard. So it's comparable. Try and keep everything fair. We're not trying to gouge everybody, but it's hard work. Okay. All right. I'm about to wrap this up here. If you guys had any other quick questions before I jump off. Otherwise, what's this Friday? I know we got Christmas coming up.
Friday is Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah. Yes. So probably not going to do it live then. So you guys will probably not see me back till after the new year. I'm going to be out of town. This special is still going to be going on until the end of the year, which you have to place the deposit before the end of the year. In order to take advantage of this 20% off. Now, this is 20% off of the front of the abdomen only. This is meant to help these larger individuals who have that belly that folds over like this young lady here. We're able to make that fold go away. And this is special techniques that we've been using that really allow for the body to heal back without that fold. This discount is specifically meant for those individuals that have that hanging belly there and are looking to get rid of it. However, it's so important that you got to do your lifestyle stuff and improve your habits. If you're ready to change your life, you're ready to make a difference, the next step is getting your consultation. Up on Facebook here, you're going to click on the link in the post. On Instagram, there's up in the profile there. On YouTube, I think it's up in the profile as well. If you don't find it there for whatever reason, it's on our website, myshapelipo.com. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to see you soon.